Hi, I'm Maya, and this is the channel Bookworm Dreams. In this video, I'm going to tell you all the books that I read for a reading challenge. At the end of 2024, Brianna from the channel Four Paws and a Book created this bingo card with 25 prompts. And she called it 25 and 25. Usually when I do a reading challenge, I look at the prompts, I make a list, I make a TBR, and then, depending on my mood, I either follow the TBR or don't. But I decided to try to complete this challenge by just reading what I read and see if the books I read fit the prompts. And that's what I did. At the end of November, I officially finished this challenge, and I'm so glad. So this is what the bingo card looks like. And now we'll just go row through row of this bingo card, and I'll tell you what book I read for each prompt. So for each book, I'll just tell you the genre, what it is about, and whether I liked it or not. Because if I go into details, we'll be here forever, and let's not do that. First row. For 2025 release, I read John Scalzi's When the Moon Hits Your Eye. This is a science fiction story in which we see what happens when the moon turns into cheese. We follow several characters and their reactions, and we see how that event affects the world. I liked it fine. I usually enjoy John Scalzi's work. I thought it would focus more on the actual, what happened and why it happened, but we were more focused on the reaction of people, so it just wasn't what I expected. For one-word title, I read Deacon by Rhea Morris Edwards. This is cowboy dark romance in which Deacon does things. I had a lot of fun reading this book, and I have since then read books 2 and 3 in this series. Book 4 came out this year, but haven't gotten to it yet. For the prompt, a book that involves travel, I read How to Become Dark Lord and Die Trying by Django Wrexler. In this book, this is a fantasy. We follow Davi as she finds herself in a Groundhog Day scenario. Basically, her life repeats over and over again when she dies. She basically restarts, and then at one point she decides to become the Dark Lord of the fantasy world she finds herself in, and stuff happens from there. It is a really fun fantasy. I had a fun time reading it, and I finished the duology this month. For a number in title, I read episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. This is a found footage horror story in which we follow a group of paranormal investigators as they are investigating a haunted house. It was okay. I usually am not a fan of horror stories. I don't read a lot of horror because I'm a scaredy cat. This one was for a book club. It was fine. Yeah, I did not like the explanation of the horror of it. So for the prompt cover by, I read, or actually reread, Paladin's Grace by T. Kingfisher. I really like these new covers, so when I saw them at the bookstore, I was like, okay, I gotta have it. Second row. For seasonal book, I read Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is the sequel to Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is a dark academia horror. I'm not sure if I had fun with this book. It was an okay book. It has elements that I don't enjoy, but it was written well. And the ending, she nailed the ending. She also nailed the ending in Ninth House as well. But the ending was like, I have to read I want to read the third one. For LGBTQ plus rep, I read Heartstop. I actually read volumes 1 through 4 and by Alice Oseman, and I really enjoyed it. It's a very cute comic in which we follow 2 teenage boys as they become friends and then something more. For the prompt, favorite author's new release, I put Precious Hazard by Neva. I don't know how to say her last name. I also don't know if it's Neva or Neva. Altai? I don't know. Basically, I discovered this author last year, I think. Yes, last year in August. And I've read all of her Mafia romance series. This is book 11 in the Mafia romance series. And I have just inhaled her series, and I have reread some books at least 4 times so far. This book came out this year, so also inhaled it when it came out. Had a great time reading it. For hyped book, I put Lights Out by Navessa Allen. This is a very popular dark romance about a guy who does masked videos on TikTok and one of his fans. And stuff happens. It's really surprisingly filled with humor, and yeah, I had a great time reading it. And for color of the year, so basically you're supposed to read a book whose cover is basically covered in the color of the year. There's some company, Pantone or something, I don't know, that picks the color of the year, and for 2025 they picked this shade of brown, and for that I just put my brown book, which is Miss Percy's Pocket Guide to the Care and Feeding of Dragons, of British Dragons? Yeah, of British Dragons, by Quamby Olsen. This is a historical fantasy. Yeah, because it's set in Victorian era, I think. about a lady who gets, I think she inherits a dragon egg, and then stuff happens. It was fine. Third row. So for the prompt POC author, I put A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sango Mandana. I love that book. It's a cozy fantasy in which we follow a witch who has an inn, and this inn just brings in the people who need help, and our witch helps them in a way, and then they help her. It's very like cozy and wholesome. It's awesome. For novella, I put Mislaid in Parts Half Known by Sean Maguire. This is book something in the Wayward Children series. And I know there's a dinosaur on the cover, but dinosaurs don't have a big or any part in the story. For 5-star prediction, I put Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong. I read it and I gave it 5 stars because it's an awesome epic fantasy story about very flawed people and in a very flawed place doing very flawed things. It was really a fun read. For comped or compared to, I put T.A. White's Rules of Redemption. So this is a science fiction story in which we follow a character who, how do I explain this? Goes on a journey to meet her alien family. But it's like much more than that. There was a war, there were secret weapons, there are people with abilities, there's different various races that you meet and cultures. It's really fun. The reason I put it here for a comp because it's usually compared to the writing of the story, and the pacing and the characters and such are usually compared to Ilona Andrews. So if you're a big fan of Ilona Andrews' works, this book will work for you because it's similar. For Friend Rec, I put Plunge by Joe Hill. This is a graphic novel that my sister recommended to me, and since my sister is my friend, this counts. A group of people go investigate a sunken ship that suddenly came back from the depths of the sea, and then stuff happens because it's Joe Hill and it's scary. 4th row, yay. So for the prompt over 400 pages, I put Son of Leech. I can't pronounce that word. It's Leech or Leechy or whatever by J. Zachary Pike. This is book 2 in his Orconomics series. This is a fantasy in which we follow a group of adventurers. Think Dungeons and Dragons, so various characters, and there are on a mission to do stuff. I had fun reading it. I usually listen to it on audiobook, and the audiobook narrator does a fantastic job narrating this book, so it was a fun read. For special edition, we have a repeat author by so Ruined Secrets and Neva Altai. I don't know how to say her name, I'm sorry. I try to find interviews to, I usually, when I want to know how the author says their name or how to pronounce the author's name, I usually try to find an interview with the author. So, the interviewer or the author themselves say their name, so I would know how to pronounce it. I haven't been able to find anything on YouTube, so... but anyway, special editions. If you go back to see the cover for the book I mentioned previously that was published this year, that cover is sort of not safe for work cover, and these flowery covers that you can see here and whatnot are like special editions because they are discrete covers. So this is book something in this in her Mafia series, Perfectly Imperfect, and yeah. It's Mafia romance. For chapter titles, I put Heart Song by T.J. Klune. I think this is book 4 in his Green Creek series. This is a paranormal story in which we follow a pack of werewolves. I mean, it's book 4 in a series, and each book in this series follows a different couple in this pack, and it's very angsty in the relationship department, but it also has a lot of action because throughout the story, the whole series, there's a big bad guy that they're slowly building up to fighting, and in the 4th book, that's what happens. I had a fun time with this series. For the prompt debut author, I read Patrick Weeks' The Palace Job. This is an epic fantasy heist story of what I remember. I had fun reading it. I'm gonna try to finish the series next year. For mental health rep, I put The Wild Wolves Rejected Mate by Kate C. Wells. This is books, I think I want to say 5 or 6, I think, in the Rejected Mates series. This is a paranormal romance in which, of course, there's a fated mate pair, and one of the pair rejects the other, and then they basically spend the entire book growling and, pleading to get back in their good graces. But since this is Kate C. Wells, it's also very dark. The characters and the world has some issues that they go through. Mental health rep is that one of the characters has really bad anxiety. And final row. So for a book that has a snake on the cover, The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. This is book 1 in her duology, whose name escapes me now. Something about Night King or Night something. Yeah, you can see the snake on the cover. This is a romantasy in which we follow two characters that are in a competition to win a favor of their god, and they're vampires. One of them is a vampire, the other one is human. And then, you know, unlikely allies to something more. And then the ending happens. Oh my god, the ending. So for self-published, I put Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman. So this is a book that is now traditionally published, but it was self-published before. So that's why I put it here. And this is I think, the self-published cover. Yeah, this is about Carl, who basically Earth gets bought by this alien corporation thing. Every building, everything just gets flattened. And whoever was inside those buildings or anything that when the flattening happened is dead. When the flattening was happening, Carl was outside looking for his ex-girlfriend's cat, and the two of them now have to participate because the aliens were like, okay, you're now here, this is now ours, and you can now survive by participating in a reality game show where you basically go through levels and do stuff. It is a lit RPG book, which means that we follow the character, and as they do stuff, they level up as in a game. The audiobook is fantastic. I had fun reading it. Okay, new to you author. For that, I put Justin Cronin's The Ferryman. This is a science fiction story about a man who lives in a utopia, and his job is to ferry fellow humans at the end of their lives to somewhere. He starts noticing cracks in his society, and stuff happens from there. The ending was a bit of a letdown, the explanation of the whole thing. But yeah, overall, I had a fun time reading it. For TBR Vet, I put, because I finally read Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson, because when I first heard of Brandon Sanderson like 5 or 6 years ago, the first thing I did was put Warbreaker on my TBR, and I got the book and everything, but I haven't read it, but now I did. So yeah, this is an epic fantasy story in which we follow two sisters. One of them was groomed her entire life to become a wife of a god king, and then the other sister was picked. And we follow them through the story as they're dealing with the situations they find themselves in. It was really a fun book. And for the last prompt was to read a book for another challenge. So for that, I put Rivers of London by Ben Aronovich. This is an urban fantasy story in which we follow this London cop, and he is inducted into this world of paranormal investigation, but he also has a gift of talking to dead people. So it was fine. So I picked this book. If you can hear construction, I'm so sorry. So I picked this book for the TBR for the Buzzword Reading Challenge, which I created a TBR, tried to read some of the books from that list in the middle of the year, and then did nothing. I think I read 2 books from that list. So that was from that challenge, and that's why it fits in this prompt. So I tried to make this video short. I don't think I succeeded at all. We'll see after I do the editing. So those are the books I read for this challenge. I am now anxiously waiting to see if Brianna will put up another challenge, a 26 in 26. That would be fun. If you have participated in this challenge, please let me know down below. If you have read any of the books that I've mentioned and you want to share your thoughts, again, down below is where you do it. Please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!